Will the Gen Z of China and the Gen Z of America unite on Xiaohongshu, aka Red Note, to form some type of diplomacy? I don't know. Let's talk about it. This is kind of a fun one. As you may have heard, that due to the looming possible TikTok ban, well, we're going to find out in a few days, literally, I think 3 days after I post this video, we're going to know if TikTok is either getting sold to an American company or gets banned from the App Store, so you can't get updates anymore, and then eventually it'll phase out. So anyways, a bunch of TikTok users have migrated to Xiaohongshu, aka Red Note, aka Little Red Book, which is a popular app that Chinese people across the world use. It's kind of like the Chinese Instagram, but you know how it's like a little bit more than that. It's like TikTok and Instagram. And anyways, it's just a little bit of everything. So we're just going to play the clips.
The one thing that might unite Americans might be our collective desire to troll the government. In the lead up to the TikTok ban, Americans are flocking to the Chinese social networking app Red Note as a way to spite the authorities. Google searches for Red Note are skyrocketing. In China, the app is known as Xiaohongshu, and it literally translates to Little Red Book. Xiaohongshu is now the top free app on the US App Store, and users on Red Note are welcoming Americans, calling them TikTok refugees and asking them for help on their English homework in exchange for Mandarin lessons, and people are trading a lot of cat photos, so that's fun. Will any of this stop a TikTok ban? Doubtful, but some people, including our editorial board, are still holding out hope for a last-minute deal between ByteDance and the US. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my daily newsletter, Bloomberg Opinion Today.
Some TikTok users are downloading another Chinese app in protest in case the wildly popular social media app TikTok is banned in the U.S. This app is called Red Note, and in case you didn't hear, it is the top downloaded app in the U.S. right now, which is unbelievable. It features short-form videos similar to what you see on TikTok. Some Americans, angry over the potential TikTok ban this weekend, are using the app to post videos with the hashtag TikTok refugee, which has surged in popularity. Folks in the U.S. who joined Red Note are being welcomed by other users. One wrote, "I am your Chinese spy." Jokingly, I suppose. TikTok's China-based parent company, ByteDance, has until this Sunday to sell off the app or face a ban here in the U.S. due to national security concerns. Ban is a bit of a stretch. Really what's going to happen is TikTok won't be available in your app store, so you won't be able to upload it. So theoretically, it would die a slow and glitchy death.
So no new users, and then you wouldn't be able to refresh with the software fixes.
Right.
So it would just get glitchy. But like, is Instagram Reels so bad to people that they're using another Chinese app rather than?
That is a good point.
Why not just go to the
Red
Zuckerberg
Note Red Note might eventually face a similar fate if the government decides that it, is problematic. So.
Oh man, so much news has come out of this. I mean, I also think it's really funny how Duolingo apparently has gotten to a 216% spike in U.S. users learning Chinese amid the TikTok ban. So this is a really funny side effect that America wants to ban a Chinese-owned app. So in that case, a bunch of Gen Z kids, probably mostly Gen Z, move to a more Chinese app and then learn Chinese to be on the app. That is hilarious to me. Not only that, but the memes are funny too. Play the memes.
TikTok refugees, are you kidding? America's literally burning, and I'm so sorry, guys, that you have to be here. Are you guys actually happy to be here? Just a little heads up, though. Things work a little bit different here. The algorithm is a little bit different.
我要恭喜美国政府引起 TikTok 导演。我是小红书上和网友找到了公共的发现我有很多中国朋友找了很多次。这些工会没有你们，这一切都不可。
And Gretchen found herself a new clique and a new queen bee to serve. And Gretchen found herself a
Mandarin phrases for beginners. Welcome, TikTok refugee. 欢迎洋抖难民. My Shayla. 太酷啦. Raw. Next question. 干，下一题. In the club, We all learn Mandarin.
And I'm not gonna lie, like these Chinese spy jokes are pretty funny because like Chinese spying is like, it's kind of taking a something that is kind of real. I mean, there's definitely some Chinese spies going on, but also there's been a lot of stories where people got accused of being spies and they weren't spies, so that's bad. But anyways, these Chinese spy jokes are pretty funny, man, because because the two countries are at like a Cold War and definitely spying on each other. Anyways, comedian Dan Yang had a funny take.
What's up? It's me, your Chinese spy. You know, obviously it's been a long road and we've grown a lot together. I still remember when, you know, you were going through that breakup and I started putting more like big booby girls on your For You page. And it's really seemed to cheer you up, and I love seeing you smile. And, you know, just watching all those hydraulic press videos and Russian dash cam car crashes, like I enjoyed those just as much as you did, and more than anything, I enjoyed watching them with you. And I also have to thank you for your data. Like, your data has meant so much to me and my family. Your data put my son, Chinese Spy Jr., through school.
All right, so enough with the memes. These are my thoughts on this whole like kind of migration to Xiaohongshu, because I've known about this app. I don't have a Xiaohongshu page, but I know a lot of Chinese people who use it, obviously. It's a widely popular app. These are 5 things you need to remember about this whole thing. So, number 1, Xiaohongshu does not separate between international and Chinese users, meaning that instead of like how there was Douyin and TikTok, which is Douyin was like the Chinese TikTok before TikTok became American TikTok, Xiaohongshu is just on there. Like the icon, obviously on the App Store, is still in Chinese. So it's just like one big connecting piece of a bridge for these two worlds that don't get to mix often. They're mixing because usually if a Chinese person in China wants to use Instagram, they have to use a VPN, and not everybody wants to use that. So they just don't use Instagram as much. And then so they're not interacting on Instagram, which is an American app. So I think the Gen Z of China and the Gen Z of America actually have a lot to relate on. And I think it's interesting because they probably both don't fully agree with what their governments are doing. They all have homework, which they're asking each other for homework help. They probably also are going through some of the same things, like especially the teenagers on the app. Like if they're all 18 years old, like they're probably still going through teenage angst, and, you know, they've grown up on social media. So they're all kind of raised a little similar. I mean, I'm sure the kids that they're interacting with on the app, like the American kids are, these are more like middle-class Chinese kids. I'm sure they all have kind of troubles like finding jobs or having the same worries, maybe, you know, just both not believing in the same things as their parents. Point number 2, American apps have been collecting your data since like forever, but because Facebook is like an American app or Google is an American app, you generally feel safer about it. But the truth is, American apps do take your data and they do sell it to people. But of course, the concern is obviously when you download a Chinese app, the Chinese company and subsequently the Chinese government would have more access to your data. You know, I mean, in Taiwan, the government has actually banned public sector employees from using Xiaohongshu on official devices. That's kind of like what they were doing on TikTok in America, and that's hence why TikTok has eventually in this situation, I guess. Point number 3 is Xiaohongshu is actually mostly owned by Tencent, which is also a Chinese company. Tencent also makes a bunch of video games, is a very famous company, you know. But, of course, if it's a large Chinese company, there is connection to the Chinese government. That's how it is in China. There's no way of getting around it. So you are possibly just, I mean, your data is available to another Chinese company. So it's not really, I mean, I don't think these people are migrating to Xiaohongshu or Red Note to avoid their data being accessed because they already don't care about it. I mean, the truth is, I have WeChat on my phone now. So, I mean, I guess WeChat, that's a Chinese brand, they have access to my data too, you know? So how much do I care? Anyways, point number 4, because of Xiaohongshu's stricter guidelines for content, way stricter than TikTok, then it means the content will be a little bit more wholesome. So I guess, will these Americans who came on this app, will they continue this wholesome content of, you know, learning Chinese? I mean, I'm sure like if you're a Chinese learning app like Duolingo or TutorMing or really any of these other, like even Rosetta Stone, you're probably like loving this right now because, you know, you figure there's going to be an increased demand in learning Chinese and people wanting to take Chinese classes. Point number 5, this migration from TikTok to Xiaohongshu to RedNote, it might not last long. It really might not last that long because it's just not an American app and it's not made for Americans. So therefore, like the translation tools, they're there, but I guess they don't work that well. But of course, maybe RedNote, they're going to change that and make it more welcoming to America. And we will see in this experiment if very American people can vibe and enjoy their time sharing a platform with Chinese people from China. I think it'd be really, I think it's kind of an endearing and cute thing that's happening. You know, there is some form of diplomacy here on a very, very small scale that I think is interesting because now the kids are sharing a space with each other. Obviously, it's Americans coming into a Chinese space, but you know, it's kind of like, it's like these American kids are taking their first like study abroad to like Shanghai. You know what I mean? Their first study abroad trip, they're like, hey, like, what's this app like? Like, I'm translating all these comments. I'm getting to know Chinese people. Like, what are their jokes like? What's their humor like? Like, oh, they're helpful. They're welcoming. They're nice. And like, it's going to be crazy. But first of all, I don't think the troublemakers are getting on RedNote. You know what I mean? Like the people are going to leave the trolly comments because I think Xiaohongshu's guidelines are way stricter. So they're not going to even allow for that. And also I think the market of people, the person who would go to Xiaohongshu from TikTok is probably a lot more open-minded and nicer anyways. So anyways, guys, that's my quick video here. I think those are just my 5 quick observations about all this. And I think you have to understand, as a Chinese American who was born and raised in America and is very tapped into kind of the vibe against the Chinese government and Chinese people, right? Like on this channel, we've covered it very closely. Everything from COVID to even before that. And, you know, the whole like, oh, is China spying and hacking American systems? And are we going to go to war with China? This has actually been a thing for my entire life. Ever since I was in junior high, there was this concern. You know, there's a story that happened to me and David where we're in social studies class. Well, it actually happened to David where somebody asks David, like, hey, if we went to war with China, which side are you fighting for? You know what I mean? And when you're a kid, that's a really complicated question. So that this whole China versus America thing is just, it's so funny for me to see this. I don't know. Anyways, you guys let me know. What do you think? Do you think these American kids stay on Xiaohongshu? Is this really the next app that people are going to use? Is there another one? Is TikTok actually going to get sold to Elon Musk in the next 3 days? We will find out. All right, everybody, please hit that like button. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.